killer man. Glock in my lap, every wild scrap. Most these rappers cow. I ain't giving doubt. Glenwood to the flat, used to rob.
Enlightenment ideals of rationalism and intellectual and religious freedom pervaded the American colonial religious landscape, and these values were instrumental in the American Revolution and the creation of a nation without an established religion. The Enlightenment brought political modernization to the West in terms of focusing. Enlightenment thinkers sought to curtail the political power of organized religion and thereby prevent another age of intolerant religious war. French Revolution can be narrowed down to 5 main factors: the estate system, absolutism, Enlightenment ideas, food shortages, and the American Revolution. On the other hand, the Taxation Acts, the Boston Massacre, the Boston Tea Party, and the Intolerable Acts were the 4 main causes that led to the American Revolution. Characteristics of the American Revolution include curiosity, humility, and empathy. If we're not curious about the great forces shaping the world, we fall apart, Meckham said. On the other hand, French Revolution characteristics included equality, fraternity, and anti-clericalism, and liberty. The French Revolution eventually saw the execution of King Louis XVI, the abolishment of constitutional monarchy paved the way for the first Declaration of Human Rights, known as the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. The American Revolution opened new markets and new trade relationships. The victory also opened the Western territories for invasion and settlement, which created new domestic markets. Americans began to create their own manufacturers, no longer content to rely on those in Britain. Enlightenment ideas of rationalism and intellectual and religious freedom pervaded the American colonial religious landscape, and these values were instrumental in the American Revolution and creation of a nation without an established religion. The Enlightenment influenced the French Revolution to a great extent by introducing new ideas that encouraged questioning of authority and religion, advancing people's outlook on commodities, and forcing citizens to compare their need with the Republic's needs. Napoleon revolutionized military organization and training, sponsored the Napoleonic Code, the prototype of later civil law codes, reorganized education, and established the long-lived Concordat with the papacy. Napoleon's impact on Latin America. The Peninsular War, which resulted from Napoleonic occupation of Spain, caused Spain, Creoles, and Spanish America to question their allegiance to Spain, stoking independence movements that culminated in the Wars of Independence, which lasted almost 2 decades. His war, Napoleon's conquest, cemented the spread of French revolutionary legislation to much of Western Europe. The powers of the Roman Catholic Church, guilds, and manorial aristocracy came under the gun. The old regime was dead in Belgium, Western Germany, and Northern Italy. Napoleonic Wars' impact on Europe and Latin America. The Napoleonic Wars in Europe cemented the spread of French revolutionary legislation to much of Western Europe, which had a direct impact on the Latin American independence movements because the removal of the Spanish and Portuguese kings demonstrated to the colonies that they could rule themselves, proved that monarchy was the best form of government. They proved that foreign rulers could be expelled from rule. They proved that the independence from monarchy was possible. Simon Bolivar penned 2 political treaties, the Manifesto de Cartagena and the Carta de Jamaica, Letter from Jamaica, encouraging the people of South America to rebel against the Spanish colonial rule. The French people saw that a revolt could be successful, even against a majority military power, and that lasting change was possible. Many experts argue that this gave them the motivation to rebel. The newly formed government of the United States also became a model of French reformers. Ideas that were once just abstract thoughts, such as popular sovereignty, natural rights, constitutional checks and balances, and separation of powers, were now part of an actual political system that worked. In theocracies, the ruler is simultaneously head of the government and religion. Absolute monarchy is a form of monarchy in which the king or queen by no means is limited to power and has absolute power. Democracy is a form of government in which civil responsibility are exercised by all adult citizens directly or through their freely elected representatives. Democracy rests upon the principles of majority rule and individual rights. Guarantee Clause had 3 core features: majority rule, the absence of monarchy, and the rule of law. An oligarchy is a form of government characterized by the rule of a few persons or families. Limited monarchies are monarchies where the power of the monarch is limited in some way, usually by a constitution or similar document. A monarch which has its power limited by a constitution is called a monarch. A constitutional monarchy. Most of the monarchies that exist in the world today are limited monarchies. Totalitarianism is a form of government that attempts to assert total control over the lives of its citizens. It is characterized by a strong central rule that attempts to control and direct all aspects of individual life through coercion and repression. The Magna Carta strengthened the roles of nobles and townspeople in government, asserted that the nobles and freemen had rights, declared the king had constitutional pardon about levying taxes. The Bill of Rights limited the power of the monarchy, elevated the status of parliament, and outlined specific rights of individuals. The Declaration of Independence included 3 major ideas. People have certain inalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The Constitution introduced novel governmental doctrine and practices such as checks and balances, separating powers between branches and defining said powers. Political philosophies of individuals such as John Locke, Thomas Hobbes. Hobbes was a proponent of absolutism, a system which placed control of the state in the hands of a single individual, a monarch free from all forms of limitation or accountability. Locke, on the other hand, formed a more open approach to state building.